I'm Karen from Online Teacher Coach, and you can subscribe below if you like this video. You can find me on my website at onlineteachercoach.com. The reason I'm doing this video today is because I have had it up to here with just seeing how much teachers are struggling and the burnout that is occurring, and teachers are leaving the profession in droves, right? And this is concerning. I myself am a teacher, although I teach online now, not in person. And I thought to myself that during my doctoral program, I've been doing a lot of research on this. And I thought, if there's anything I can do to help people, just grab some quick activities that don't take any prep time. And so I thought, hey, I don't have anything to do today. I'm going to go ahead and do just that. So this activity is in 3 easy steps. It is called Find Someone. You may have heard of it, but I'm going to show you how to do it in a quick way. Doesn't require any paper if that's important to you. So here we go. So the first thing is I want to tell you about the pedagogical background of Find Someone. So the first thing is that students do the work. So we want students to be actively engaged in their learning. So pedagogically, this activity fills that bill. Students are active. We know on Bloom's taxonomy that the more students are active in their own learning, the more that they will retain, right? They're going to retain much more than just listening or seeing. Another pedagogical component is that students are all talking at once. Think about in your classroom when you have one student answer, and all of that time that it requires. In this case, students are all talking at once. And I'm sorry for my dogs in the background, but work from home, this is what it is. Communicative, right? So especially in foreign language classes, I taught French and Spanish. We want students to be communicative. So that's another great element. And also students teach each other in this activity. So how many times have we seen the impact of when one student teaches another student, how much more is retained than just from the teacher, him or herself? And then finally, there is the opportunity to gather formative assessment. So as you see your students walking around and doing this activity called Find Someone, you can be listening in and be gathering sort of formative data on how they're doing. So let's get right in. Step 1 is to prepare the activity. Now, wait a minute. Didn't I just say it requires no prep? Okay, well, you might want to have some board squares on your, well, if you teach with a blackboard or a whiteboard, you can draw them right on the board. You can see this example that I have here. Now, this is a big grid, right? You don't have to have a big grid. You can just make it 9 squares like tic-tac-toe. You just draw it right on there. And then inside each square is a task, like find someone who, I don't know, ate something last night, or find someone who knows the periodic table of elements, or that's a big one. Find someone who, right, you just put your little tasks and you just draw it right on the board. Or you can have a sheet. Yes, that would require you to have something prepared, but some people already have that, right? So you can see on the sheet here, it says, find someone, sing a song, say the alphabet, draw a funny picture. And it doesn't matter what you teach. I teach French and Spanish, but you can teach math and you can put whatever tasks you want in there. Now I want to point something out on this. Do you see where it says find someone and then show me? One of the mistakes I think sometimes teachers make, and I made it myself, is that students walk around and say, can you sing a song? Yes, fine. And they check it off and put the student's name. No, you want that student to prove it. You want Alex, if Alex says, yes, I can sing a song, make him do it. So the students are kind of all walking around asking each other who can fulfill these tasks, but remind them to make that person prove it or show. All right. So step 1, you can do it with a sheet, you can do it without a sheet, you can draw it on the board, it can be last minute, right? You have 10 minutes left of class, etc. Step 2 is you want to make sure you explain the directions to the students very carefully. So in the picture, you can see students are interviewing each other. So what I used to do is I would say, students, you must take these tasks or on the board or whatever and interview, tell them how many to interview. Go around, find one to complete each space perhaps, or interview 3 and figure out where they belong on the grid. But tell them what to do at the end of the session. This is very important. I remember middle school students, they are kind of like frogs in a blender, right? All jumping around. And I would often have to tell them, you're going to go around and you're going to talk to 5 people, find out what they can do, and then return quietly to your seats. And then I would confirm it. What do you do when you're done? Madame Olson, we return to our seats or our stations. Yes, because otherwise, if you don't give them that directive, they're going to be all over the place. Then, as I said previously, students must ask the person that they found to prove it. So pretend that the young man on the right has said to the young man on the left, can you, I don't know, do quadratic equations? That's not something I can do, but, and so can you give me an example? We don't want the left student to just say yes. The student on the right says, if that's true, prove it, write it down, show me, say it, demonstrate it, whatever. And then they can write their name down on that, right? So very, very important. Here's kind of what it looks like. You see how everybody is kind of moving around, right? So they're all moving around, they're engaged, they're not off task, at least not in this video. So that's kind of what it looks like. And then step 3 is, and this is a really important part, is to go over it as a class. And this is where your formative assessment can come in. So start with one student. So maybe the teacher in the middle calls the very left, her very left-hand student, the girl with the yellow shirt. And she would say, student X, maybe her name is Maria, who did you find that could prove they could say, my name is in French? Now, we're not asking Marie to do it. We're asking, who did she find that could do it? Takes the pressure off a little bit, but it also keeps the students on task because Marie, the girl in the yellow, will look at her paper and say, Jeffrey, who is the boy in the yellow. Jeffrey did. Up. As the teacher, now I say, Jeffrey, you told Maria you could. Prove it. And he would say, je m'appelle, me llamo. He would show a math, whatever the case is, he did it. Now, Jeffrey just said, oh, I did and I proved it. Great. All right. Teacher goes back. Jeffrey, who did you find that could, and I'll just give another French example, order a food in a restaurant, we'll say. And Jeffrey says, oh, well, that was Adele. Well, Adele's the girl with the ponytail and the blue shirt, right? So then I say, Adele, Jeffrey says that you could order in a restaurant in French. Let's see you prove it. And so she says, je prends, I don't know what it is, un croissant, right? I'm gonna have a crescent roll. Great. So it kind of goes around. It takes the pressure off the first person, but keeps everybody on their toes because they already practiced it, right? So you ask that student to prove it, and then that person who proved it, you ask the next task. Who did you find that could prove they could, right? And so it kind of goes around, and it very well could come back to the first person. That's just sort of the way it works, and then you continue. So if we just kind of, look at it from a sort of a graphic view, I have the teacher in the middle. He or she says, who did you find that can, and asks student A. Student A says, well, that was student B. Student B did it. Great. So the teacher says, student B, let's hear you say it. Prove you did. Student B proves it. Then student B says, then the teacher says to student B, who did you find that could tell me 4 sports in Spanish? And so it continues on until you get to the end. So I hope that you have liked this video. You might be wondering what the teacher does. So first of all, keep the students on task, right? We don't want off-task behavior. So walk around, use your body language, right? Support students with keywords if needed. Like if they're just struggling with one little word or one little concept or one math equation, just sort of enter that real quick so they can keep the activity going. And finally, the teacher should take a breath, drink more water or coffee while the students work, right? So of course, the teacher needs to take a breath, right? We want to make students do the work. If you like this video, definitely sort of subscribe. or get some free teaching resources. I do have quite a few that are available on my website, and be looking out for some more of these videos. And I thank you very much, and I am looking forward to the next time. Bye-bye.